What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Abundant Relationships. If it's your first time, my name is Evans-Claude Sabbi. In this video, I'm going to address the topic of having a woman who is emotionally unavailable to you and what this means and how you can move past this to kind of open her up again where she can express emotions in the most freeing way to her. For most men, and I understand that I'm generalizing here, the topics about emotions are very hard to comprehend. And when something like this, when we have a person whom we love, whom we cherish, and she happens to be closed off emotionally, it can send us in so many directions. We could feel defeated. Sometimes it's that feeling of overwhelm, and sometimes we could even get angry because we have no idea on how to tackle this. We have no idea on how to move forward. Why? We just don't have a blueprint, a strong enough blueprint for processing emotions as much as women do. Now, what does it mean when a woman is emotionally unavailable to you? Something to understand here, there's most likely something that has happened. There's an event that has taken place that has hurt her, and in this sense, she doesn't feel it's safe enough for her to express those emotions, especially to you. Now, you might have been the source of that event, you might have caused it, you might have done something to trigger it. It could be something that you said that triggered her heart or that made her feel that it's not safe to be open emotionally. And at this point, it's your job to open her back up again where she can feel safe to communicate these things emotionally, because most women feel the safest when they can express their emotions. They're the most loving, they're the most caring, and it's the best place for them to be most of the time. However, most men don't recognize when this takes place until sex is affected in a relationship. And that's when they kind of wake up, things click, and they say, oh shit, what did I do to put my woman in this place where she's closed off to me emotionally? Because that emotional defensiveness, that closing up, that protecting oneself that a woman does also is going to affect the sex, because if she cannot open up emotionally, she's most likely going to be closed off as well sexually to you. Your woman's lack of emotional expression might have been caused by the time when she reached out to you with something that really matters to her, something of value emotionally, and you either disregarded it or you shut it down and you went ahead with your business without realizing the impact of what you've just done. And what you have to do as a man at this point is being able to recognize the impact of what you've done, and it's your job to create an environment that's going to allow her to open back up. Now, I'm going to share from a past experience here something that happened. It's not really a triumph story, to be honest. It's more of a lesson that I took with me from then onwards on how to respond to women emotionally. And I remember it was about 7 years ago. I failed to communicate my emotional needs to my then girlfriend, and we started drifting apart. And when that happened, I automatically, in order to not stay in that hurt, in order for me to not be seen as if I was vulnerable at that moment, every time I would feel hurt by the fact that I could not communicate my emotional needs to her, I picked up a bag and went to the gym, and that's how I started working out. It was more of an escape from my sorrows, from the hurt, the anger that I have within me, that I did not feel free to communicate my needs to her. And the more I did that, the further we drifted apart. And I remember months after I was into working out, I started feeling good. I started again looking good, feeling good, standing up a little bit up and brighter and more prouder. One night when we were just sitting in bed, I remember I expressed to her I would love for her to come to work out with me. And that was my way of wanting to connect, wanting to spend more time with her, but I could not communicate that directly because I thought that that is something that men don't do. You don't tell a woman that I need that emotional support right now. I was not at that place secure enough to be able to express that. So she turned me down. I think it's because I never really paid her attention outside of that conversation. So she was a little bit hesitant. She did come once or twice, but she never really bought into the idea. Now, sometime a few weeks later, I tried to express to her again the need for her to come to the gym with me. And the choice of words I used to express that need was not my proudest moment, to be honest. I remember saying to her that this means a lot to me because I'm afraid at some point, if we don't work out, if we don't work on ourselves, if we don't look good, we might start not being attracted to each other sexually. But what she actually heard was that I'm starting to lose sexual interest in you. And as soon as I had said those words, I regretted having added those words as soon as they left my mouth. And it was one of those scenarios where what you say, you have to be careful what you say because you can't really take it back. The impact it has on the other person, how much the wounds that it creates on that emotional bond that you two have is so severe. And from that day, after having said that, I remember the separation, the sense of more like roommates and not really lovers actually grew. We created even a further distance because she was still a little bit vulnerable to me, but the way I tried to connect with her, it put her in a place where she felt injured. She felt that her being vulnerable, her being open to me emotionally, put her in a place where she was shown that she was not going to be loved. I wish I knew how to handle that then better. I wish I knew how to bring up these topics. Now that I think about it, I wish I knew how to persuade my woman better. I wish I knew how to use kinder, more loving words that would be more encouraging for her to connect with me at that emotional level that I wanted her to. But I failed to do that, and it's a past relationship. We still respect each other very, very dearly, but it's something that you don't have to go through. It's something that if you're looking to persuade your woman in doing whatever you want, just make sure it's coming from a loving place. I think I made a video about that at some point. I'll link it somewhere around here. But if your woman is closed off emotionally to you at this point, one is try to understand that there is something that's happening. There's this disconnection. There's this hurt. There's this need to move closer, but there's a barrier that's being created. It could be something you say. It could be a facial expression you gave that's driven you guys apart or made her feel that she can't really be vulnerable to you because you're not going to be there to respond to that vulnerability, to respond to her need of wanting to connect and to engage with her in a way that she wants you to. So if you know what you might have said that closed your woman off emotionally, go ahead and acknowledge the impact that your words might have had on her, and never downplay the injury that you might have caused. Never downplay the pain that she has. With men, most things might seem just easy, saying, hey, I'm sorry, that's it, that was a mistake, and things might go easy. But for her, it's not just words. Those words had an impact. It might have created a feeling of loneliness, feeling of unworthiness from you to her. So acknowledge the impact that you've had on her, and also encourage her to talk about how she really feels. And the more she talks and expresses that hurt, the disconnection, not wanting to open back up to you emotionally, I think the more she will work through those emotions and get past them. When somebody expresses and feels like they're being heard, they're being listened, that they are being valued the way they are, it allows her to forgive and move on from whatever you might have said or done. And listen empathetically. Put yourself in her shoes and understand that the impact of what you've done is big for her. And until she realizes that you actually are sorry for what you did, until she realizes that she can rely on you again, that next time when she comes up to you and she wants to open up emotionally, you're going to be there for her. You might have to reassure her that next time she reaches out, you will be there for her, to hold her, to respond to her emotions, to engage with her in things that really matter. And to be honest, I can't really tell you how long it's going to take for her to open up. In most secure relationships, you'll find that one acknowledgement, you giving her the ear and the attention to talk whatever she wants, to express her hurts, it might be enough. But if you've been doing this over and over again, you have been unavailable to her, this might take time. It could be weeks, months, sometimes even years. And if it's really, really severe, I might encourage you guys to go see a therapist, because there might be more that need to be dug out there as far as the hurt that you might have caused, you might have inflicted on her over the years. So be very mindful of that. Most of the times when a woman is emotionally closed off, is because there's something that happened that made it so hard for her to trust you that she can open up again, and you'll be there to respond to her feelings, because those feelings and your response to it really matter to her. So that's what I have for you guys in today's video. Head over to the website for extra content. Subscribe to the channel if you have not, and until next video, I will talk to you guys in another one.